Okay. Thank you, IANC members, for attending today. My name is Gina Stallings. I work in the Market Access Program for IMS, Market Finder, and Big I Markets. And today we are pleased to introduce you to our newest IMS partner, RentSense. A few housekeeping items. Please put your phones on mute. If you would like to ask a question during the presentation, Tim and Bill have asked that you just go ahead and ask as soon as it pops into your mind. And any other questions that you don't want to, feel free to use the chat if you'd rather go that route. So without further delay, I would like to introduce Tim Wall, who is the CEO of RentSense, and Bill Wilmot, who is one of the partners in RentSense. And they will share information with you today about their product. Tim?
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
What we have, members, is a contractual liability insurance policy, or as our industry, who is wonderful with acronyms, call it a CLIP, C-L-I-P. It's a very simple product. It's a very unique product, and it's a very needed product right now. And what our product does is replaces a cash security deposit with an insurance product. And the way it works basically is, normally if you run a house, an apartment, student housing, military housing, a property owner will want first, last, and security. Now, the average rent nationally right now is about $2,000. So in order to even get into an apartment based upon averages, somebody has to come up with $6,000. What our product does, it guarantees the property owner 6 weeks worth of rent if the tenant defaults. It includes, and we'll get into this a little bit more, some property damage done by the tenant, animal damage if it's a pet-friendly facility, eviction filing fees, and utility default. And the cost for this product is 25% of 1 month's rent. So go back to what I said, instead of $6,000 to get into an apartment, the new tenant would have to pay first month, which is normal, and 25% of 1 month's rent, or $500. So they get into their unit for $2,500 instead of $6,000, which is quite a savings. The way we market this is through property owners, not through tenants. We issue a master CLIP policy to the property owner, and what they simply do is offer it to their tenants that are coming into a new lease. And we'll talk about this again in just a few minutes. We have a provision called return to renter, which allows, if they want, a property owner to return the security deposit mid-lease or mid-term of lease, if they opt for an insurance policy. So on the first screen, it just that we're looking at, and it benefits, obviously, the tenant, benefits property owner because we're giving them more coverage than they traditionally get. And first and foremost, we're not a bond. There are a couple of life programs out there, but they're all surety bonds. And you guys, being insurance professionals, know the difference between a liability policy and a surety bond. And with liability policy, there's no subrogation. If there's a claim, we pay the claim and move on. With a bond, the bonding insurance company has the ability to go back and ask for their money back if they pay a claim. So we are not like that. We're a straight indemnity policy and again, not being a bond. So, Gina, you want to go to the next screen? Where it's just really some of the highlights. Basically giving them 50% more protection than a traditional security deposit, because we're giving them 6 weeks of loss of rents versus traditional 1 month. From administrative work, in North Carolina, if you are collecting deposit monies and keeping them in an escrow account or trust account, you've got to report to the state monthly to make sure that those monies are still in the trust account and you haven't used them for other purposes. So by replacing this with an insurance policy, it takes the reporting off the responsibility of the property owner, thereby saving them time and money from their accounting standpoint. Again, the tenant pays a premium of 25% of 1 month's rent, and very importantly, it's a one-time premium, meaning it's not 25% a year, it's 25% for as long as they stay in that specific unit. As to the cost of the policy, there's no cost to the property owner. We give them the policy for free, and it's funded by the signups. They send a monthly report, also known as a bordereau, into us, and they transfer the money into us. And we pay the insurance company. And the last thing is, property owners, especially in these times, are trying to add fees, or they do add fees. It could be anything from a garbage fee to a lawn maintenance fee, so on and so forth. With our product, they can, at their option, they can add administrative fee. And let's say it's $50. So if they've got 1,000 units, let's say, which is not uncommon, $50 times 1,000 units is quite a bit of money. So it's free money. So they save money from not having to have their accounting department use their labor to report these trust account monies, and they actually have an opportunity to make money by charging an administration fee. And again, that is money that they collect and they keep. That does not funnel through us when they admin. They just send us the insurance premium. Built into our 6 months of rental default, we include $500 against resident negligent damages, $300 for utility utility default or eviction filing fees, $300 for pet property damage. Now, these are all sub-limits. They're not in addition to the 150% of 1 month's rent. And again, so if we're using averages of $2,000 a month for rent, our policy limits $3,000, 150% of 1 month's rent. Out of that $3,000, they can use these sub-limits for any damage that the pet or the tenant does to the unit. And so that these limits would in fact erode the $3,000 of total coverage. So if they had $500 of damage and $300 of pet damage, that's $800. You would take that off of the $3,000 policy limit, excuse me, and have up to $2,200 for eviction for the default on the rent. And Jan, let me take a little sidebar here, guys. I was at a conference last week in Orlando, and I came back to North Carolina, and on Sunday, found out I had COVID. So I want to apologize if I cough or sneeze or lose my voice. It's not normal. It's this crazy variant that's going around that I avoided for 2.5 years that finally got me. So please accept my apologies up front. Okay, so this is what I talked about before, return to renter. It basically is the same exact product. It just allows the property owner to return cash to their tenant, deposit monies, if they opt in for our insurance product, which, by the way, is called Deposit Plus. So, we've all been through a hard time these past couple of years with COVID, and who knows what's going to happen with this projected recession they're talking about. And this is a nice way to, for the property owner, if they wish, to return money to the tenants to help them through some of these tough financial times that we're having. And again, it's not mandatory either by the property owner or by the tenant, but it is an option if the property owner wishes to do it. RentSense is on the cloud. Okay. I am not the most computer savvy guy, but everything we do is electronic. I'll just leave it at that. The monthly reporting form that the property owners or property managers do can be submitted to us electronically on the monthly reporting form, which we furnish them. The policies the same way, we just send them electronically. Online tracking, that's, if we have a client that's large enough, we can hook up an API so they can track any claims and renewals, cancellations, any of that stuff. But if not, if they aren't big enough for like an API or don't want one, just on their monthly reporting form, they can say, hey, we issued 5 new policies, and we had 2 people move out, so you're adding and deleting on the monthly reporting form. Claims are handled directly with the insurance company. We can be involved if we need to be. If not, the property owner can call the insurance company directly, their claims department, and turn the claim in. And the claims handled within 11 days. Now, I stretched that. They told me they'd handle it in 5 to 7 days. Yeah, I don't believe that. And they're insuring their claims people. So I put 11 days just to give us a little leeway. But I think if we used a 10-day payment from a claim, that would make sense. And again, the property owners can submit these claims directly to the company to where, you don't have to go through a middleman, and to save time. And as far as claims, we do not send out adjusters. Why? We talked about our maximum exposure of 150% of the monthly rent, so $3,000. To get an adjuster involved and go out and inspect, it's going to be at least $500, if not $750. So with the company, they agreed it's just going to be pictures of the damage, and estimates of repair damage if it's property damage claim, and if it's an eviction, just a copy of the eviction notice, and they will pay the claim. Tried to make it very simple for claims payments. Bill, why don't you, this is kind of your expertise here from the marketing standpoint. If you would like to remark on this, I think that'd be great.
Well, from a marketing standpoint, what we're doing right now is I have an SEO, search engine optimization programming that's ready to launch here in the next couple of days. That's going to put RentSense up there, and anybody that searches any number of terms, basically security deposit insurance, security deposit alternatives. Anybody that Googles that, we're going to have RentSense popping up there first. So that program should start up here within the next couple of days. In addition to that, I'm doing what we call a lead generation program, where we're doing a mailing piece that's going to go out to property owners and property managers across the country. We're building a list of 5,000 names at a time, and we're going to be blanketing them with RentSense emails. And eventually, once we have that in place, we will also be able to repurpose them with ads in their emails and on their Facebook pages as well. So that program will be starting up probably within the next 30 days. So those are our two big marketing efforts that are ready to kick off here in the next 30 days.
Bill, I'm going to interject. I have a question, and we haven't spoken about this, to be honest. But let's say that through our marketing, a client of one of the agents that are here on the call, somebody sees our ad and they go to their local agent and say, "Have you heard of this security deposit alternative insurance?" And then they might say, "Yes, I have," or "No, I haven't," but I'll find out for you. Got to remember, clients are, they trust their insurance agent that they do business with. So if the insurance agent comes back to us and they're a member of the North Carolina Independent Agent Association and on the IMS platform, that business should be coded to the agent that brought it to us, regardless of our marketing, in my mind. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that. And as you know, we've talked to David Bird about that in Florida with regards to leads coming into us and how we're going to be able to, once we process them ourselves and maybe assign them to an agent, and David Bird wants us to funnel all of that through him.
Okay. Okay, Jim, next one. Deposit Plus, we are filed as an admitted insurance company in, I think, 46 states. In addition, there are a couple of states that they were very difficult to get filings in. In one state, being Florida, there's some kind of something in the statute that doesn't allow this type of program through the Department of Insurance or Department of Financial Services to be admitted. So the insurance company started for us a surplus lines company, which does a couple things. If you're in a state that we are not admitted, this, like Florida, we can go right in. As a matter of fact, we've written policies in Florida on the surplus lines basis. And the second thing it does, if you're in an admitted, let's say you're here in North Carolina and somebody said, "Well, I don't think $500 property damage is enough. How do I get more?" Well, with an admitted company, I think everybody knows that to get additional coverage, you'd have to go back and refile. And filing in all these states took forever. So in order to get around that, if we use our surplus lines company, our E&S company, we can increase the property damage from $500 to $1,500, the premium on that is 5%, meaning instead of 25% of 1 month's rent on a one-time basis, it's 30%. And obviously, with an admitted company, it's backed by the state's guarantee fund, and it is our company is Fortegra, which is an A-rated, actually A- rated insurance company that's been around for a while. And I can't stress this enough that this is real insurance. It's not a surety bond, which is a huge, huge difference. So I think you can see that this works. Go back one, please. It makes sense for property owners. Why? Well, they don't have to do monthly reports. They've got greater protection with 150% of 1 month's rent. Again, the opportunity to make money on admin fees. It works for everyone. It works for the tenant. It works for the property owner. It works for IMS, and it works for you and I. It just makes sense. We do have a minimum number of units to be eligible, which is 25. So a property owner has got to have 25 units. And that can be apartments, not buildings, but units. There can be single family homes, student housing, works, military housing works, senior housing works, any kind of residential, rental, excuse me, rental properties will fit into our program. How do we underwrite it? We do not underwrite the individual tenants that come into an apartment. What we do is underwrite the standards of the property owner. They all property owners have standards, whether it's credit score, whether it's criminal, whether it's employment history, credit history. So they're basically already qualifying their potential client, and we saw no need to do the same thing that they're doing. So we rely on their standards, and that's how we underwrite it. It's a very simple application, and it asks what the minimum credit score is and any other background checks that they do. And ask about number of evictions in the past year or 2 years. How many people have been evicted? So I think when you start marketing this, if anybody's in the apartment space for property and casualty, this is a great add-on to give them. Or if you're not and you want to get into it, if you lead with this product, and then the old saying, oh, by the way, can we have an opportunity to work on your property casualty? You can expand your potential income by doing the property and casualty insurance along with our RentSense product.
And if I might, I want to reiterate the market for this product is the property owner or the property manager. It's not going to be the tenant. We're not going to be marketing this to the tenant. If a tenant goes to a potential property and wants to participate in RentSense, the property owner or property manager is going to have to agree to that. And so our target marketing for this is going to be the property owner and the property management company. And just to give you a rough idea, there's over 65 million rental properties in this country. And there are some of these companies that own and manage these properties can have in excess of 100,000 properties that they manage around the country. There was a recent article in MoneyWise magazine that was talking about this particular category, and there's 4 or 5 companies that are in the REIT business, which is called Real Estate Investment Trusts, that are managing for investors to invest in these properties around the country, and their returns are huge. So the market is significant. The market is big, and it's probably a category that not a lot of people have thought about over the years, and haven't really targeted this market for sales. But if you were able to come across a company that had 10,000 properties, the amount of commission available for a property like that is significant.
Yeah, and we can tell you that our marquee account, which is out of the state of North Carolina and Florida, they have 2.7 million units that they manage, and we're getting applications in from them daily. We just onboarded them within the past month. But this being here in North Carolina, I don't care if you're driving through Raleigh or Charlotte or Greensboro or Fayetteville or wherever, the amount of apartments that are going up is just crazy. And with everything's, interest rates increasing and property values at an all-time high, you've got people that can't afford houses. So they're turning to renters. And again, it could be a single family or it could be an apartment unit. So like Bill said, there's a huge market in our state, and it's doing nothing with the growth of people moving into North Carolina. It's going to do nothing but grow. So this is a product that could set you apart from, a competitor that's another agent. So, that's why over the course of several months working with IMS and with Gina and her group, that we were excited to join, and I think they're pretty excited to have us.
Definitely, we are.
So let's go to the last little slide here. This is just more or less an overview of what we've talked about. And this, from the sales and underwriting to the coverage, going down to the important thing, Gina.
The commission.
The commission. And we just took, let's have a PO's property owner with 1,000 units, average rent's $2,000, the premium's $500 per, and you do the math, and that's $50,000 in agency commissions on, again, that's just 1,000 units. And I think you'll find if you do try to do some marketing, you're going to find many companies that have much more than 1,000 units. So there is great income potential here. We talk about renewals. This is a one-time premium, so it's a one-time commission. However, every time somebody moves in and moves out, that's kind of sort of like a renewal commission. The average, we do know the average tenancy in the United States is 21 months. So every 21 months, you're going to be getting a new renter in. And if they opt for the policy, that's a new commission that comes back to you or your agency.
Does anyone have any questions for Tim or Bill? Okay. If you're interested, please contact me, or you can go direct to our IMS website, which is www.imsaccess.com, or feel free to email me, gstallings@iianc.com, and my number is 919-863-6530. And again, we appreciate your time today and your participation in the association and your interest in our IMS program. And thank you, Tim and Bill, for providing this exciting market opportunity for our members.
Thank you.
And Gina, just to end up, if it's acceptable to you, if anyone has any more specific questions or would like to look at some marketing material, they can feel free to call me directly if you're okay with that. I'm located in the Raleigh-Durham area, and my cell phone number is area code 704-763-4000, and my email is simply tim@rentsense.us.
And again, we appreciate you. Anything that we can do, whether it's IMS markets or anything else, please do not hesitate to reach out. And everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you, everyone.